The following presentation is brought to you by the Pride of ODU, the official NIL collective of Old Dominion Athletics. Be a monarchist. Join the Pride. Monarch Nation, welcome back to the Monarchist Basketball Show. We are welcomed by our leader of Old Dominion women's basketball, Delisha Milton-Jones. She's led this squad to a 3-1 start and has an ACC scalp on her head or our hands already. How you doing, Delisha?
I'm doing well. I'm out here collecting scalps now.
I mean, 3-1. You went down. You went down to Dallas and left a victor with a great performance by the bench.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that game and what made you guys just continue to keep the fight up to finish that game off.
Well, we owe a lot of respect to the loss that we encountered playing against Ball State out there in Muncie, and we came back home and we didn't sit there and lick our wounds. We got back to work and we broke down a lot of things that needed to be exposed, and we enhanced some things that we were doing well. We took the show on the road, and I think that we had great practices under our belt, and we had a lot of strong conversation assessing who we are on both ends of the floor and even our culture off the floor. And we felt that we really hit the mark because we addressed what needed to be addressed, and we were able to put it on display against SMU and come away with a big time win against an ACC opponent. A lot of people don't even associate them with the ACC because they haven't adjusted to that transition they made to the ACC. But that's a tremendous victory for us. I'm super happy for the program and the players, and everyone came out and they played their butts off. Our bench, they came and provided a huge spark. They were steady for us. They set the foundation, and our starters, while they had a slow start, they came off strong in the second half. India Buford almost finished with a triple double, and Michaela Brown had a double double that night. Samara Field, she came off the bench and she just hit big time shots and answered every run that they had. She answered one with a big three. So super happy for us. We ruled the boards and were able to defend, rebound, and run the way that we like to, and we came home with a great victory under our belt.
All right, so I know it was a road game,
Yeah.
but you've got the pipeline coming straight from Texas. And you were able to take a bunch of your players home, so
Yeah.
to speak, and play in front of their family. Talk to us a little bit about how that went and what that did for your team.
Well, Roland Jones Jr., who's my assistant coach and recruiting coordinator and scheduler and husband, he he's the guy that kind of does it all. He's the mastermind behind building our schedule. He's the mastermind behind going and tapping into that hotbed of talent that Big Texas has to give. And we found some tremendous players from there. It's a deep pool that we can go and swim within and find tremendous players from every position. We felt that it would only be right that we schedule a Texas team so that we can take those players home and they'll have an opportunity to play in front of their friends and family. Those that may not be able to come all the way to Norfolk to be able to see them play in Chartway Arena. But it was great. The gym was filled with a lot of people who were there to support ODU and our players. And I'm glad that we put on the show that we did because they saw a great win um, against a very good opponent.
All right. So one thing I'm looking at the stats right now, and I mean, you talked about the depth and how good of the recruiting class you brought in here, and the people that you retained to stay at Old Dominion. You talked that up all off season to us, and it's hard to see until you see it in action, really. But you have 9 players averaging 10 minutes or more a game.
Hmm.
So this is really an all hands on deck situation we got going on here.
Yeah,
How hard is it to manage the personalities? All because all these girls want to play a lot of minutes,
they do. They
but when
do.
you're asking them to sacrifice themselves for the team and maybe cut their minutes so everyone can get more run, how hard is that to sell?
um, it's not hard to sell at all. You know, you're number one, you're not playing for some podunk university. You're coming to play for Old Dominion University, where women's basketball was the thing that put this entire institution on the map. And we have history behind us. So if the kids, the student athletes don't know us, their parents do. And if you follow anything within the world of women's basketball, you know that this is a household name when you're talking about Old Dominion women's basketball. Now, being able to recruit players that will come here and understand that they are of value and they will see the floor, the proof is in the pudding. I love the fact that they can go and look at our games and they can see how deep we go. And it really is up to the talent to come in and let the talent do what talent's supposed to do. Um, Especially if you couple it with the great coaching and instruction that you're going to get on a daily basis. If players can come in and they're locked in and they know the information, then their number is going to be called because we know how to use them. We don't want this to be a situation where you have about three players playing the bulk of the minutes. We want it to be something that is done by committee. So in the recruitment process, we detail that specifically to our recruits. We show them on film, we show them in stats, we show them in the analytics. They see it within the practice and how we coach everyone from the starting five to the 15th man on the roster. And everyone gets the same type of love, and there's equality even in the butt chewings as well. So I think we do a great job of allowing our recruits and their families to see that their child will have some stake in this game as an ODU women's basketball player.
Well, I mean, I asked that question because it is a very tough thing to sell, I think. And getting
Yeah.
that buy-in shows how good of a job you and your staff have done.
Mm.
So I just wanted to commend you for that.
Well, I appreciate that. You know, we pride ourselves on being real people. One of my mantras is how can I ever think about reaching the player if I don't first reach the person? And we see them all as human beings and we treat them all well. We treat them how I would hope someone would treat my daughter or my son if they were to go and play for someone. We are very attentive, we are very intentional, and I think all of our players can feel that high level of care. And because they do, that allows them to be able to be ready when their number is called, and they can trust the fact that what we said will go, it will fly. You will see the floor if you're doing what you're supposed to do.
A prime example of that, when you're talking Texas, is Mariah Clayton, especially in that game. I mean, coming from Texas, she played 27 minutes, scored
Mm.
9 points. I mean, 2 or 3 from threes. So you're talking about a true freshman coming in and making a big impact right away.
That's right. And listen, this is a heavy laden veteran team, veteran squad. Ever since we moved to the Sun Belt Conference, we knew that if we wanted to be competitive with the 85% of the league that is vets, then we had to go out and recruit just that through the transfer portal or through the channels of the JUCO ranks. Now, coming in as a true freshman, that can make you a little nervous and make you wonder, where is my opportunity going to come when I'm playing amongst vets like that? But once again, we are true to our word. And if you have the talent and you have the focus, then you will play. And Mariah Clayton, folks, is going to be fun to watch for the next 4 years. And we're going to do everything in our power to make sure that she stays around and she's a Monarch from start to finish.
Well, I can't wait. I've already been watching, and if she's playing like this as a true freshman, the sky's the limit. Oh,
Absolutely.
so all right. So you go on the road, as Mike said. You beat an ACC team, and you come home, and we've got Morgan State,
Yep.
and your defense holds them 18 of 57. They shoot just a little under 32%, under 19% from 3-point range. Talk about the effort that the ladies gave against Morgan State.
Yeah, so anytime you come off of a big win like that, everyone's expecting you to be on your high horse, and it makes it easier for your opponents to kind of knock you off. We were very conscious of that. We had plenty of conversations surrounding that, and I think the team did a great job of coming out focused. I wanted them to know that the Morgan State Bears were going to be like a wounded bear in the forest. And if you walk up on a wounded bear in the forest, it's going to fight to the death because it has nothing to lose. And they were expecting us to come in and kind of overlook them. So the players were focused and they came out and gave the defensive effort that we needed them to have in order for us to walk away with a convincing win. Um, I think if I'm pleased with anything, I'm pleased with how our defensive side is growing. What is to come is our stamina on the defensive end being able to be maintained once we get the ball on the offensive end. It's one thing to allow your defense to create offense for you and you get fast break points, but it's another to make your defense score for you, but you have to do it in the half court, running around for another 20 to 30 seconds trying to score when you just did that on the defensive end. So there's a certain level of stamina attached to being able to build two-way players within our program. And I truly feel in my heart of hearts that we have that type of team. We built that type of team that will be able to sustain that, to defend at a high rate and come down and score and execute at a high rate in the half court as well.
So if I remember during the post-game presser for this, you were happy with the performance, but there were obviously opportunities um, from coaching going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the team got out rebounded by a few in that one. Is that attributed to that defensive stamina that you're referring to?
It really is. And if you talk to my players, they'll tell you like, man, coach, it's tough. And I always relate James Harden, KD, Steph Curry. When you think about those dudes, well, they can average 60 points for the month of February or for a period of a month in the NBA, it lets you know that to get a bucket, you have to have a different type of cardiovascular attached to you. Then to be able to do it on the level where you can be a solid defender on one end and come down and tote the mail for your team on the other, whew, it goes up another notch. So they talk to me all the time about how tough it is, but rewarding at the same time. That you can lock someone up on the defensive end and almost demoralize them psychologically and physically, but then come down on the offensive end and give it to them again in another form of fashion.
So speaking of demoralizing, what you guys did to Bowie State on Friday had to have been demoralizing for them. You held
What?
them to 32% from the floor, 15% from three. You out rebounded them by 22 rebounds, 52-30. I mean, you just kicked their tails and you won by 27. That
Well,
has to feel really good.
it does, and we want to play the game the right way, no matter who's in front of us, and we are proving a lot to ourselves. Forget to the rest of the world. We're not doing this for rankings. We're definitely doing it for wins, but we also want to win the right way. And against Bowie State, I told my team that to win is one thing, but to win the right way, that really is when you start sending the right type of messages, not only to yourself but to your opponents or to even your fans, to let them know that we mean business and we want to be that type of team that you can depend on night in and night out to come and do the tough stuff. And we want to do the tough stuff well and be consistent in that. And now, when you have that up under your belt and you're stacking those types of days and deposits on the court, then it's a great product that your fans can enjoy. And it's something that you can hang your hat on at the end of the day and be proud of.
Speaking of things that fans can enjoy, on Thursday, November 21st,
Hmm.
we've got VCU coming to town.
Yes.
Um, that's something that Old Dominion fans love to hate. It is going to be Community Day at 6:30 p.m. Talk to the fans a little bit about VCU and what we should be looking out for.
Well, you definitely should look out for a great game. And if the analytics serve us correctly, we're hoping for a win. I think you guys alluded to that in the break when we were talking that for the past 10 years, whatever team is playing at home wins. So I'm hoping that home court advantage will come in and serve us greatly, on top of us being able to handle our business and take care of our own destiny ourselves by how we perform on both ends of the floor. But VCU, they're a strong program. They have a great leader. They play a great game of basketball. They're normally physical and long and athletic. So we're going to have our hands full. They are shooting the ball extremely well from the 3-point line. I believe they're at 49% as a team. And when you leave them open, there's a pretty good chance that they're going to hit it. They also attack you from beyond the arc and then relentlessly at the rim. So it's either threes or layups. So we have to do a great job of running them off the line and really dictating what shots we allow them to take. They for sure can't be uncontested threes, and for dang sure they can't get to the rim untouched. So we're going to have to see if we can make them shoot from the 15-foot range and put the ball on the floor and be creative rather than being able to swing the ball and move it easily through the pass.
All right. And then next Tuesday, we are
Hmm.
hosting William& Mary, another rival, a former member of ours within the CAA. We've won six straight over the tribe. So more analytics saying keep the streak going.
Yeah. Look, I'm all about streaks, and I'm hoping that we can continue one in our winning. And Wilma Mary, they're never an easy win. They fought us hard last year, well into the fourth before we could pull out the victory. And now that we're on our home court, I'm hoping that there will be some level of comfort that we can have sleeping in our bed and shooting on our rims and being in our locker room, that we can come out with a tremendous victory. So, a great game against VCU coming up on Thursday, and then following that up with Wilma Mary. Um, I think it'll be two great wins for us to go into the Thanksgiving break.
And these
Well,
are
that's like
also, I mean, these are two rivalry games for Old Dominion. I mean, one team from the 757, another from Richmond that we love to hate. Great games for season ticket holders, which you told me you had a 91% renewal rate from season ticket holders.
Yes, yes, we do. I'm super happy and proud of our supporters. They are definitely consistent. They are our six man and our six woman, and they do a great job of showing that love and admiration that they have for our women's basketball program. 91% of them have renewed. Our courtside seats are practically sold out. There may be two to three left that are unsold. And I think that's such a tremendous thing to see at this point in the year, this early, that so many have dedicated themselves to the 24-25 season. Now, I would love to challenge more people to not be left out, because obviously there's something special going on in Chartway when the women's basketball team is tipping. And I would love for individuals to come and give us a try. Give us a try, and what you'll find is something that you probably are wondering, how have you missed out on this all your life? And you, once you come in and you see us play, I think you'll get hooked. You get to see a great brand of basketball where you can see the play develop from start to finish, the evolution of it. We play under the rim, so it's going to be physical. The girls are really physical. They're a little bit dirty, a little bit nasty, and I think guys can appreciate that and probably would be shocked at just how physical the women's game is. And then obviously, when you just see the tenacity that they play with, it's a lot of passion and intensity out there. And then, of course, you can get a good show by watching me on the sidelines with my antics. I try to be a little subdued, but I've been told I look like I'm frolicking through the lilies every now and then as I'm skipping up and down the sidelines yelling at officials.
91%. That's awesome. I don't know what a normal season ticket renewal rate is, but I would imagine that that's got to be Mike's eyes going like he's a data guy. Like I'm going to try to find out what this is, but I'm sure that's towards the tops of around the country. So with that, I know we talked a little bit last time about the pride of ODU and the collective.
Yes.
So obviously we're trying to grow the membership there and as we go, but the biggest place to start is going to be probably your season ticket holders. And they're the most likely ones to be listening to the show as
Hmm.
diehard Old Dominion women's basketball fans.
Hmm.
Um, what can we say to encourage the folks who aren't members of the collective yet, who are your season ticket holders?
I think what I would say to encourage them is that we're in a new age of sports, where you can bet on sports, where athletes can win certain types of monies and contracts for their name, image, and likeness. And I know it's different from what we're accustomed to seeing, but we have to change with the times. And what this does is it not only allows them to have a more enjoyable experience, because my players, they always don't come from situations where they have a silver spoon in their mouth. Many of them come from very humble beginnings. So anything that you can do to help aid them financially is tremendous. Um, but if you really enjoy what you're witnessing on the floor and what you encounter from them within the community when we're doing all of our outreach, then another way that you can thank them and pay homage to everything that they're doing for our beautiful institution of higher learning, I think it can go along the lines of what you can do in terms of uh, sponsoring them, getting a subscription, whether it's the $7.75, whether it's $20 a month, or if you want to subscribe for $500 a month to a player, whatever level of generosity that you're willing to show, it all will definitely be appreciated. And it will serve a great cause for many of our uh, women's basketball players.
So,
And on top of that, this show is funded by the collective.
That's
We
right.
wouldn't be here without the collective and their support of us. We do try to keep our costs extremely low so we're not an impact on fans,
Mm-hmm.
but it allows us to produce content like this with you to
Mm-hmm.
bring them more information from inside the women's basketball program. So I think that's another reason for women's basketball fans to get involved.
Mm.
You're going to be more connected than ever before to Delisha and the program because of the collective if you join.
and
Um,
if you've got questions on how to get involved, obviously you can go to theprideofodu.com and you can join. But if you're curious, if you're a business and you're trying to figure out how do I partner with a player to represent my brand, or if you have questions, you can reach out to us on all of our social channels, and we'll make sure to get you connected with the right people at the Pride of ODU.
Yes. And I also think it's pretty cool that you have two gentlemen like yourselves, Mike and Aaron, where you all are obviously not female, but you are supporting women in sports. And the way that you're going about it is very philanthropic. You have shifted with the times, and you see the prominent need that is there, and you want to do everything in your power to make sure that we have a competitive edge with our competitors. When we're recruiting against James Madison's and SEC and ACC schools, they have this to offer. And I don't want this to be the thing where we check off every box but the collective box. And that's the reason why a student athlete may choose someone else other than us. It may seem shallow, but it's the reality that we're in this day and age of collegiate sports. So if you are a diehard ODU fan, whether it's for the women's or the men's team, if you want to support our athletes, your dollars can be spread to where it can support both programs, and it can make a large difference in our recruiting presentation and in the experience that the student athlete will have while they're here.
all right. Join the Pride. You won't regret it. It's good for
Right.
ODU women's basketball and
Yes.
ODU athletics. So please consider joining. But let's get back to basketball. So
Okay.
um, we talked a little bit about the bench and their impact they're having this season. I mean, they had a huge impact against SMU, but also Morgan State. I mean, they scored almost half the points against Morgan State. Um, you're playing a lot of players. Where is the rotation at right now? And it's kind of like it's stages of from start to finish. Where are we in that process?
Well, we made some minor adjustments. The last time you all saw us play at SMU, we started Simone Cunningham at the five and Sarai Estupinan at the PG spot. And since then, we have moved Nisa Muhammad, our true freshman from DeSoto High School out there in Texas. We moved her to the starting spot at the PG. She brings more length, more height, more athleticism, better strength. But we also wanted to get her feet wet so that she could see how she needs to change her tempo in order to make the proper adjustments that will serve her and us well later into the season. And we also moved Michaela Brown into the starting lineup to play alongside Brenda Fontana. And Michaela is starting at the center position for us, and I think that's a spot that she has earned um, because she's been playing tremendously well, rebounding the ball well, finishing well, being that player that we want to be able to throw the ball inside to her, and we know that she'll make something shake with it. So those are the two tweaks that you can see within the roster, but everything else remains the same.
You had Michaela at the last post game presser, and I mean, you had me fired up. The way that you were so complimentary of not only the player she is, but more importantly, the person she is, the teammate she is, the student she is. Um, I could tell how genuine it was, and I know that meant a lot to her.
Oh, most definitely. And, one thing about Michaela and I, we are always making sure we're intentional about how we feel about one another. She's like one of my first babies as a freshman that has been here from start to finish, and she has done it the right way. An individual that kind of lets you know that what you're saying and putting out there actually does make sense. And it is a path for success for those that are willing to go on that journey with you. Michaela is someone who listens attentively to everything that I say. Something as simple as I give her information that I used when I was a player, that I may have learned from Lisa Leslie or some of my great teammates I played with. Something as simple as talking to yourself, repeating what the coach said, which is echoing. So if I'm learning something from James Worthy, who Michael Cooper brought into practice to show us the mid range game and how to get to your jab series, it could have been squeeze on the catch. Okay, face, hard jab, up, show 'em pump fake, drive by, right hook. And you talk to yourself like that. Michaela does that. She's like, squeeze, right hand hook, face up, shot. She talks to herself and she's starting to seek success, even off the court. In the classroom, I told her, if you could come here and you hunker down for 4 years, you could get your undergraduate in 3 years. And then you can start working on your master's in your fourth. That's how a lot of your regular students do it. They come here and they don't fool around with the academic side of things. They get the work done. They want bang for their buck. They want to get as many degrees in as less amount of time as possible, which saves them a lot of money. Well, if they can have that mindset, then you could do the same for me through scholarship. So she is one that is set to graduate after the spring in 3 years. And then she'll start working on her master's. So, how could I not fall in love with a player like her? How can you not use her as the example? She is the epicenter of everything good that we describe within this program. And that's why she's so important to me and us.
That's awesome. Really proud of her to really value what her opportunity here and make the most of it.
Hmm.
Um, all right. So coaches are always looking to improve. You have two tough in-state games over the next week, and then you go to Daytona, where you have a big opportunity to play Ohio State.
Hmm.
Over these next few weeks, what are the areas that you want to see your team improve the most in?
I love using analogies. And if I am an artist, I already had my big whiteboard up, and I have my easel, I have my paints, I have everything, I have my brushes. In the summertime and within the fall, the preseason, we've been using broad strokes with everything that we're trying to paint on this canvas. Now we're at a point where we're using more finer, more delicate strokes because we're looking at the details of everything it is that we're trying to put on this canvas for the picture and the vision to come to life. So, if there are areas of improvement, I would love for it to be on the side of execution on both sides of the ball from a defensive standpoint to where we're not just relying on telepathy or osmosis to get us through, but we're actually uh, honing in on the details of communication. what are you saying, and how pertinent is it, and how quickly are you getting to the point, so that it can be profound and impactful in that second that we have to react in order to dictate what our opponents is doing. Then on the offensive end, I want the execution to come in the realm of tempo, timing, and spacing, being able to spread the floor to allow our abilities and skill sets individually to flourish as we collectively try to attack anything that our opponents throw our way. And then if you are a good coach, you're always going to work on your culture on and off the court, making sure that there are no cracks in the foundation that will cause everything to crumble and fall apart at the first sign of adversity. So that is where I'm at mentally and even emotionally for my program as I lead them, and the things that I feel need my attention and my criticism. Yeah.
So we're in mid-November, and obviously the basketball schedules are kind of weird at this time of year before we get into conference and these different tournaments. If you were to kind of give us what your goals are to close out 2024 to have good momentum going into 2025 in the conference, what does that look like?
In a perfect world, to be undefeated for the rest of the month. In an imperfect world, and being realistic about things, regardless of the win or the loss, you still can get better. Even because sometimes when you win, you really are losing if you're not going about things the right way. And sometimes when you lose, you can actually win if you are going about things the right way and you have the proper perspective. So for us, I want us to remain grounded regardless of who we're playing and what the result may be. We have to take a holistic look at who we are, and based off of our goals and our standards, are we really progressing the way that we set out to? I have the players make their rules, even though I have my standards. They make their rules. Are we adhering to all of that? Do we need to tweak some things or enhance some things on the court? Are we where we need to be in terms of philosophy on offensive side and the defensive side? So outside of the win loss column, there are still other areas within the standards of who we are that we want to be able to stack our wins within as well.
All right, Delisha. So we want to thank you for your time today. We really appreciate it. We'll be rooting you on this week and next week at home against VCU and William and Mary. And we hope a lot of fans join us at the TED to root on these Lady Monarchs as they continue to build and get ready for conference play. Thank you so much again, Delisha. Go Monarchs.
Listen, thank you guys. I appreciate everything that you all do. This is a blast being able to come on here and talk hoops, especially with people who love hoops just as much as I do, and who love ODU just as much as I do. So thank y'all.
You're welcome, Delisha. We will see you after or before the NC State game. Actually, we'll see you at the TED, but then we'll be back on the show before the NC State game.
There we go. There we go.
Go
'Cause
Monarchs.